KPIs are the right drivers. The cost reduction is the most and probably the highly sought after KPIs for the procurement community. The cost, the time, the quality, and the technology. And we're trying to focus around all four when we're trying to reflect on the KPIs. I would also like to mention the Procurement KPI Dashboard, which I have developed for the procurement community.
This video is brought to you by us, SCMDOJO. We provide awesome courses, guides, best practices for supply chain community.
Hi folks, welcome to one more episode of SCMDOJO Knowledge. Today I'm going to talk about 10 procurement KPIs which you should use or pay attention if you have not done so far. So before I go into the 10 KPIs, let's reflect into the importance of procurement. So procurement as a function is super important to any business because this is where the large amount of money has been spent to the supplier. The part supplies by the suppliers are very important to run the manufacturing, to run the business, so on and so forth. So the four factors which is very important in terms of supply management is the cost, the time, the quality, and the technology. And we're trying to focus around all four when we're trying to reflect on the KPIs. As the famous saying goes, what gets measured, get done. So if you want to improve something, if you want to improve your performance of your procurement from the previous years, right, or versus the target, whatever the strategic target your business has set up for you. So the KPIs are the right drivers. The KPIs are the right indicators, right? And for you to identify the gaps and to improve your business. So essentially, procurement KPIs are the measures which helps you manage your procurement processes and do it better to deliver value to your customer, to your organization. So before we look into the top 10 KPIs, I would also like to mention the Procurement KPI Dashboard, which I have developed for the procurement community. So there is an instructions video as well, which you can see at the top, which you can have a look and you will learn how to use the KPI Dashboard. There's also a blog on the top 16 KPIs, which you can see the link below and can have a more thorough read on this if you like. So KPI Dashboard, which I've developed, is a ready-made dashboard with the targets and the trends, and you can compare your current performance from the previous years or as many years you have a data to show for. So go and have a look and give me the feedback and how you find it useful or not. And there's a link below as well if you want to download. The first and the most important procurement KPIs, which is used extensively across corporations, regardless what is the size, is cost reduction. And cost reduction is the hard-saving procurement folks drive. And probably, if you ask me, in my experience, they spend 80 to 90% of the time in identifying cost reduction opportunities. And I'm talking about hard dollars, hard savings. There's a lot of effort goes into it. There's a huge amount of negotiation. Generally, by the bean counters or the financial guys, as we say, they count something as a cost reduction. That means if you're buying at the lower price than you previously were buying for. So if you manufactured at, for example, $5 in-house, if you're buying from $3 outside, ready-made and delivered, then your $2 is your per product cost out, simply said, right? And there's a lot of things going around. For example, you forecast a cost out, there's not in the volume when you come to reality, and there's a debate, but regardless of that, the cost reduction is the most and probably the highly sought after KPIs for the procurement community. The second one is cost avoidance, which is different from cost reduction. The cost avoidance means that there is a potential cost which is supposed to be incurred and then we find a way to avoid it. For example, there's a breakdown is supposed to happen because the part is about to fail. That means it's going to cost a lot more money to the business. So if the procurement folks try to find a way to bring the parts in to avoid the machine breakdown, therefore they have avoided the cost. And cost avoidance is an important measure, but sometimes it's very difficult to calculate. But it's all down to how you present your business case, your formula. The cost out, I believe, we should track as a procurement community, and we should measure as well in line with the, let's call it a business policy, whatever the policy is, and also should report it as well. Because I have not seen many organizations reporting cost avoidance as a KPI. The third is purchase price variance. So simply put, purchase price variance is the cost you have paid to buy a certain widget or a part minus the standard cost and the difference of that. So again, the actual price you paid minus the standard cost and divided by the number of units. So you come up with the total value. Purchase price variance is very important because if you put a standard cost in your budget, which calculates the standard cost of the product, so over the period of time, what's happening is maybe there's an increase of commodity, supplier is increasing the pricing and then invoicing the higher value, then you would like to track it. What is the variance versus the standard cost, right? So purchase price variance, again, the third most important KPI in my books, and every procurement community should track it. The fourth one is the quality KPIs. It measured differently in different businesses, but the one which I work with is the supply quality PPPM or DPPM. That means defective parts per million. It's simply calculated as if you find one defective parts from a million you purchase, that means as a 1 DPPM, right? So it's a hard quality measure, is a good measure, and everybody should report it. Number 5 for me is a supply lead time. And the supply lead time plays a huge role in actually the overall supply chain planning. And so I'm a hardcore supply chain guy, and I work with a lot of procurement folks as well, and I've worked as a buyer as well. For some reason, there is a negligence of the importance of supply lead time in the procurement community. And I know I will get quite a bit of a reaction to that statement, but stay with me. So how many times actually the procurement guys are trying to reduce supply lead time effectively? Right? So here's the question. So answer me in the comment as well. In my opinion, not very much time, right? So not many times I've seen procurement folks is driving supply lead time reduction, but supply lead time is a very important KPI because the inventory we are going to order is directly proportional to the supply lead time. Higher supply lead time means more inventory. So what I keep recommending to my procurement folks and procurement community is when you're negotiating contract and find new suppliers or whenever negotiating anything, make sure we also negotiate supply lead time, because the lower supply lead time means more agile supply chain, more responsive supply chain, less inventory, better customer service, overall better for the business. So supply lead time, top 5 in my list. Please track it. Number 6 is the purchase order cycle time. That means how much time we have taken as a procurement team into place and orders to a supplier, right? So when the need was arrived and the purchase order was placed, how long it takes. It is instantaneous, it is taking 6 hours, 1 day, 2 day. So measure it. Especially it's very important from the engineer to order and made to order businesses where the cycle times of placing purchase orders is very long. So it's important to measure that as well. So number 7 is a slightly controversial KPI, which is spend under management, right? So that definition, if you search Google or see the books, is varied in like very many ways. So my simple definition of the spend under management is that whatever hard dollars you are spending to the contracted suppliers divided by the total money you are spending to run your businesses as well. So that means money spent to the contracted suppliers minus any maverick spend, because there's a maverick spend divided by the total money you're spending, right? So again, if you look into the blog, the definition has been provided also in the KPI dashboard as well. So if you disagree with this definition, by all means, feel free to send me your definition, put it to the comment. Welcome to see that as well. Number 8, number of suppliers. Again, when I was working in this as a buyer, one of my KPIs was a number of suppliers or reduced number of suppliers, right? The reason it is very important is because the more suppliers, that means more admin time you are spending to deal with those suppliers, sending RFQs, whatever, right? So it's important to track the number of suppliers, set a goal to reduce it, have a 80-20 rule. It's better for overall management of the supply chain, especially your procurement spend. Number 9, the famous of DPO or days payable outstanding. That means how long you are taking to pay your creditors, which is your suppliers, your vendors, or financiers, or whoever they are. Generally, the theory is, or what I've learned from my procurement gurus is, you should try to prolong that number as long as possible, to the extent that you do not upset your suppliers, or basically your suppliers don't run out of the money, right? So you need to pay them on time. Therefore, they have the money to basically start supplying you, right? What are I think the KPIs, the good use of this KPI I've used is following. So for example, if you negotiated 60 days of payment terms, that means you pay them 60 days, that means that's your DPO target, then you can say, okay, I can pay you earlier if you give me a 2 to 3% discount. So you can drive some cost out by basically paying your supplier early. So it's important to negotiate, set a target with your suppliers and have a good DPO metric. Number 10, last but not least, is a tail spend. Tail spend is the amount of spend you have with the non-contracted suppliers or the maverick suppliers which you do not track, right? So that is also important. You're buying bits and bobs, your gloves, your sanitizers should go maybe into your tail spend. So the idea is to track it and to minimize it, and the more managed spend you're going to have, the better it is to leverage it to drive cost out and save money for the business, right? So hopefully you like this video. Hopefully the 10 KPIs I mentioned, review the dashboard I've given you feedback. Hopefully you like it to download as well. Do that and give me a feedback about the work we are doing at SCMDOJO. I appreciate that. And as always, keep it simple and keep it real. Be safe and ciao. Bye.